Hello, this is the Wall 200 with a political video, and I'm here to talk about if the USA needs healthcare, or universal healthcare. And I actually think we do. I know I'm going to sound like a socialist and a commie and shit like that to say that, but honestly, I think we do need something in place. I know Obamacare is there, but I think uh, you know Trump might have repealed that. I'm not too 100% sure of that. And that was a pretty good solution. It wasn't the best, I don't think, because you put a lot of burden onto the employers to apply that. To and not saying that a lot of employers can't afford that, but it kind of might have hurt some of their smaller businesses. But a lot of these people that work for like McDonald's and Taco Bell or whatever, they can afford it. They make millions to billions of dollars a fucking year, so it's not a big of a deal. But if there was going to be universal health care, then I think we do need one as the United States of America. Now there are some concerns about this because if we do this, we have to raise something. Like we might have to raise taxes because a lot of these other countries that have it have higher taxes. So a solution would be maybe just tax a lot of the wealthy. A lot of the Fortune 500 companies do not pay taxes because of the tax exemptions and just how like the tax system works. They can work around stuff and get enough tax exemptions where they don't have to pay taxes. Well, you can make that where they do have to pay taxes. Again, I'm going to sound like a socialist and some kind of commie to say, well, tax the rich, fuck them, But something has to give here, and even if we have to tax everybody else to a certain degree, and just more so the rich, than to get healthcare, I think it's totally needed. Um, Also, there's a concern that there's going to be a shortage of doctors and maybe a lot of misdiagnosis there and rush diagnosis because universal health care would be covered by 90% of the population of the United States, and that's a lot of people to be covering, right? So there might be a huge shortage of doctors, or where you might get a very hurried results to your doctor visits because they just want to just go through people. So there are some downsides, don't get me wrong, but I think an influx could be, easily, I guess, balanced out there. It might be a huge flood of people at first, but I think it would balance out, within a year or so. I think it would be fine, and I think there's enough doctors and nurses out there that can handle it. Maybe not enough, but who knows if it ever comes to light, if we ever get one. But I don't think we will. But just toying with the idea of it, I think it'd be way better because I think it would also regulate what the hospitals can charge you for certain things. Now hospitals will charge you for ridiculous prices for a certain thing. They'll like bill you $100 for a fucking bottle of water, $20 for a Band-Aid, just insane shit. There's a story not too long ago about this woman that got a swab and make sure she didn't have strep or something, and she got billed $25,000. That's fucking ridiculous because there's no restrictions on what they can bill you. It's a complete and utter bullshit, and I think like the number one reason why people file for bankruptcy is medical bills, and that's just insane to think about. Like even with insurance, you still have to pay a shit ton of money. A lot of the insurance have a pretty high ceiling what they will pay before they'll pay a lot of it. Don't get me wrong, it's like 89% of the bill, but you still have to come up with maybe a couple $1,000. Like they'll pay like $23,000, and you have to pay the $2,000 for the rest of the bill. Like that's a lot of money to just for a simple doctor visit, and that should be allowed. It should be regulated. That shit should be illegal, but there's no laws against it to I guess, price gouge like that, which is it's kind of an insane thing to think about, how they can just hospitals can charge whatever they feel like because there's no regulations against it and there's no laws that they can't say they can't do this shit. So placing a universal healthcare might mitigate the cost of doing that shit and keep a lot of these people in check where they don't have to charge you so much for this shit. So overall, I think it'd be a way better solution than Obamacare. Maybe not right away. I know there'll be a lot of push for universal healthcare because the money has to come from somewhere to pay for it. So higher taxes might be a result of that. I know a lot of people hate paying more taxes, but I think something has to give. I think very few countries that actually don't have it. So it's strange that how we're one of the richest nations in the world, and we do not have health care or a universal health care that covers a way more vast majority of us that really just need something. To a lot of people just can't afford assurance or have to rely on the government to pay it. I think this would be a very, maybe not so cost saving at first, but in the long run would benefit a lot better. So I think about doing a lot more of these political videos, and I think the next one I'm going to do is violence ever the answer, and we'll go from there. Thank you for listening. Rate, comment, and subscribe.